Welcome to a new fantasy adventure on Dreamscape. In this action-packed adventure, two enemy hunters must work together against their will to save a village. The biggest gesture you can give me is a like. If you like my stories, feel free to leave a subscription and activate the bell so you don't miss any more stories. Well then, let's dive into the story. Caryn and Rorik, enemy and ally. Panting, the huntress Caryn rushed through the forest pervaded by fog. Somewhere among the gnarled tree trunks had to be her prey, the infamous monster hunter Rorik, whom she had been tracking for days. Caryn knew she couldn't let her guard down. Rorik had the senses of a lynx and the reflexes of a wildcat. Only her skill and instinct could help her find him before he noticed her. Silent as a shadowy figure, Caryn slipped between the trees, all her senses strained. Suddenly she stopped abruptly and crouched down. In front of her, the contours of a footprint were clearly visible in the soft forest floor. Caryn recognized the profile immediately. Rorik was not far. Quiet as the night itself, the huntress crept along the trail. Her heart was pounding with excitement. Soon it would be decided who was the better hunter. There, behind a fallen tree trunk, crouched a dark figure, half hidden in the branches. Caryn held her breath. Slowly, she drew her bow and placed an arrow. Rorik had not yet noticed her. Silent as an owl in flight, Caryn released the arrow from the string. Quick as a flash, Rorik wheeled around and caught the projectile out of the air before it hit him. His eyes twinkled with amusement.
"Good try,"
he growled. Cursing, Caryn tried to put up another arrow, but Rorik was faster. With a leap, he pushed himself off the ground and leapt toward her, blade drawn. Caryn just barely dodged the deadly blow. She quickly drew her hunting knife. Now began a deadly dance of blows, parries, and feints. Caryn fought doggedly, but Rorik was physically superior. Finally, he managed to wrest the knife from her. Triumphantly, he held his own blade to Caryn's throat.
"You're good, but not good enough,"
he sneered. At that moment, Caryn kicked him in the shin with all her might. Rorik stumbled, and Caryn seized the opportunity to flee. Blind with rage, Rorik charged after her. A prey did not escape him. Caryn rushed breathlessly between the trees. She could not let up, even if her lungs were burning. Rorik caught up. Suddenly a rock wall opened up in front of Caryn. Gasping, she whirled around. Now she had her back to the wall. Rorik was getting closer and closer. There was no escape. Caryn reached desperately for her last arrow. Suddenly a blood-curdling scream sounded from the forest. Rorik froze, listening tensely. Caryn sensed it too. Danger. Then a horde of hungry ghouls burst out of the undergrowth and attacked Rorik. Caryn took advantage of the moment. While Rorik fought the undead, she climbed the cliff face to safety. When she reached the top, she looked down triumphantly. Now she had won. A strange feeling came over Caryn, however, as she saw Rorik struggling against the odds. Should she help him in his distress? Or was this the chance to get rid of him once and for all? Caryn hesitated, then picked up her bow. Arrow after arrow she shot down on the ghouls, uncovering Rorik's back. Eventually, together, they managed to drive the creatures back. Rorik was leaning against a tree, panting and covered in bloody scratches, but he was alive. Carefully, Caryn climbed back down. She needed to know why Rorik had followed her. She slowly approached him.
"I saved your life. Now I demand answers,"
she said.
"Why did you follow me?"
Rorik snorted.
"My client was afraid you were after the dragon's eye. A treasure map is said to be in your possession."
Caryn laughed.
"That's history. This hunt is over."
Rorik eyed her curiously. Caryn sighed.
"Better help the injured in the village. The ghouls will come back."
Rorik nodded slowly. Perhaps this unexpected alliance was the beginning of a new story. Side by side they set off. They walked silently through the forest back to the village. Caryn kept stealing glances at Rorik. She still didn't feel comfortable that they had become allies so suddenly. Could she trust him? Rorik also seemed lost in thought. Now and then Caryn would catch him scrutinizing her. Apparently, both of them weren't sure what to make of this twist of fate. When they reached the village, they saw a scene of devastation. There were dead and injured everywhere. Apparently, the ghouls had passed through here before Caryn and Rorik had met them. They immediately rushed from house to house looking for survivors. Every move was perfect, as if they had worked together all their lives. They complemented each other perfectly with their skills. After all, they had taken care of all the wounded. Exhausted, they sat down by a crackling campfire.
We make a good team,
Rorik said thoughtfully. Caryn nodded.
Who would have thought?
She knew this was the beginning of a special friendship. That night they decided to hunt down the ghouls together and rid the land of their evil. From then on they roamed the country side by side, determined to fight evil. It was not to be the last adventure that her destiny had in store for her.